the number of confirmed cases that are on board the USS Theodore Roosevelt. I don't know if you've noticed that. It just says 2 military, but they don't say they're from the USS Theodore Roosevelt. But
how do you, I mean, you're a longtime media person, Sabrina, in reporting that kind of stuff. Do you think that our numbers should reflect those cases from the Theodore Roosevelt? So instead of saying we have 50, whatever it is, should we start saying we now have like 80 cases? Or do you think that we should have a separate reporting of these?
Well, I see what they're doing. I mean, when they say it's, 56 cases, because they've been tested by Public Health's lab. And so
Right,
I think the reason maybe why they're not including the USS Theodore Roosevelt is maybe national security reasons. They don't want everybody knowing how many people, the ship being compromised.
I mean, we're beyond that, because all you got to do is Google Theodore Roosevelt, and the national media is just all over it. They're now saying there's over 30.
Right. I think up to 36.
Right.
But even the Department of Defense, I've been monitoring their website, and they're not even really saying anything. It's just several additional cases. And I don't think they've had a press conference since last week, Friday, announcing any new information. So whatever information media are getting, they're reporting. And the last I checked was 36 confirmed cases. And like during the last press conference, the defense secretary, I believe, said that it's going to be 100% testing of all the sailors on board that ship, which is over 5,500. And then you have 20 of them. 20 of them are originally from Guam.
Yeah, and this is something that the governor had, and it was an really interesting story. And I was here when, I went out to the Roosevelt when
February 7th.
They came on February 7th, and I was able to meet the sailors on the Roosevelt and the families. And so, wow, it took some string pulling, but I don't always save numbers of people we talk to. But I was able to reach out to Christina, who's the mother of a sailor on that boat, and a really interesting perspective. There's so much anxiety, fear, people maybe not in the right mind they would normally be in. And she had said, hey, the comments on the social media, that's killing me. I mean, there's so much. I'll give this, and because I have her on the line, before we bring her on, I think people can talk about the way of life, the one Guam, how things are inside the fence versus outside. But when you start getting personal and saying, leaving comments like, I hope they die, that's
wrong.
Yeah, that's so wrong.
Absolutely wrong.
And so let's bring Christina Schwend up on the show here. Christina, good morning.
Hi, Christina.
Good morning, Chris and Bree. How are you guys?
Very good. So you got a shout out by the governor in her, I don't know if you saw that in her press conference Friday.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, she had said that.
I'm going to have to go look for it.
Yeah, now you got to share it. So she basically said that in talking about this situation with the Theodore Roosevelt, let us not forget that there are 20 or more sailors from Guam with families on Guam that are on that ship. And so when we put the story out, I was really touched by the amount of positive support and the comments that you were getting, Christina.
I was too. I noticed that it was a total 180. Like when I was going back and reading the comments on your guys' story, there weren't negative comments anymore. I think I got, and all of the ones that I read, I got one where it's like, well, do we pray for that guy that said, I hope all of you get sick because you're coming in and you're buying all of our stuff from the commissary and the next. I'm like, yes, you pray for him even more because he needs help with his soul if he's thinking that way. They're the ones that we need to pray for more. And in this time of, like you said, fear, everybody's fear and everybody's anxious. Our anxieties are to the roof already. Because we don't know. We don't know what tomorrow is. We don't know what tomorrow brings. Some of us are losing our jobs. We don't know if we're going to have money to feed our kids. So I get all of those anxieties. And this is the time that we need to come together as a community and say, hey, you know what? We're all in this together. We all need to work our issues out and and be positive in the face of our anxiety, our not knowing, our I can't think of the word that I need right now.
Right. Hey, Christina, so I saw on your Facebook that you had posted a picture of the aircraft carrier with something along the lines like he's okay. So have you heard from your boy, Jose Luis, since we last spoke on Friday?
Yeah, I have, and he's in good spirit. He's not being very forthcoming with what's going on. As you said, they too have orders to not share information. Yeah, he's fine. I know his friends are fine. The ones that I have met when they were here in February, he's saying, yeah, they're okay too. And you were saying about there's 20 locals, 20 family members on that ship that are from Guam, our sons and our daughters, okay? But if you take into consideration that they now have extended family on that ship, we're talking about a whole lot more than 20 people.
Yeah.
And these guys that came to my house in February, they're now part of my family.
Because they ate your cooking. They're hooked now.
Yeah.
Once you eat our cooking, you're in. You're in. That's it.
Mom.
Yeah. They appreciated the chicken Calaguin.
Christina, so I know you said that your boy is not being very forthcoming. We understand, the orders and all that stuff, but what have you been able to get out of him that you can share with us?
That he's doing fine. I was talking to my sister-in-law too, and she was saying, has he gotten tested? I said, no, he has not gotten tested. And I have a theory on that, is that, your guys' report is that there's only 500 tests, yeah? And so, like our government is saying and our medical staff are saying, we're testing them as they show real signs, real symptoms, because the tests are limited. So, yes, the president said, and the Navy Secretary has said, hey, we're going to test all 5,000 of the sailors on the ship. I think they're waiting until they get those tests in. But right now, not all of them are being tested.
Was this I guess a regularly scheduled port visit?
No, this was not.
Okay, yeah, because that was what
Yeah,
we were
that's
told
what
that it was.
what the military is. they're on full-on damage control mode. So the information we're getting from them is basically like, we're not telling you guys anything. Nestor had sent a bunch of questions off to Lieutenant Richard Moore, who kind of handles the public affairs for, I'm not sure if it's Big Navy
Joint Region.
And so the responses I thought were very. It's only the military can give you, 2 paragraphs of words put together that don't really say much.
They're good.
Statement.
I was like, wait a minute. So we've got 3 paragraphs, and basically it just means like
we're not telling you anything.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll refer you to U.S. Pacific Fleet.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I understand that, and I too have to watch what I have to, what I can say. But he is fine. His immediate friends are fine that I know of. And that's not. There's not much else that he can say.
Well, we know you're talkative, so I think we should go ahead and get you off the line before you say something that you're not supposed to say. Yeah.
But you guys all be safe, and thank you for taking the time to give me a voice and to give the other parents. I'm not only speaking for myself, but I've had a couple of comments from other family members of those 20 sailors on that ship, and they're saying that they had the same sentiment. They were feeling very hurt and very offended by all of the negative comments, and those have seemed to calm down. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank the people of our island for understanding what we were going through. Like you said earlier, they had forgotten for just a moment because of the anxiety. And I got that. I understood that. And I appreciate the turnaround. I really do. So
Well,
thank you for giving us a voice.
They're more than welcome to also give us a call. Please let them know that. I'd actually like to speak with some of them, even if it's not on the record, off the record.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, yeah, even
you know,
just to talk to them.
If they saw the newsreel, then I'm pretty sure they're listening, and maybe they can call in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the more you put faces to this, the more real it becomes. And
I agree, Bree.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, please just I'll have Chris give you my phone number, or even just have them call Chris.
Sure.
All right, you take care.
Sure.
Thank you, Christina.
Too.
Okay.
Please be safe, you guys.
Right
You
on.
too.
And after all this blows over, we want to try this famous chicken Kelligwin.
maybe I'll stop by and give you some taquitos.
From 6 feet
Hey.
away.
Yeah.
When you give me my Denancy.
I got
There
your
you go.
Denancy already.
Deal.
I
The
got it.
deal's
Yep,
done.
that's it.
There you
Yep,
go.
Yep. Okay. Barter economy rolls on.
Right?
Thank you, Christina.
Okay, Esther.
Okay.
Take care.
All right. 8:13. Christina Schwend, of course, her son Jose Luis is a sailor on board of the theater. Well, I don't know if they're on board now because we're starting to hear information. Been able to glean from several national reports that say facilities, and we haven't been able to confirm it. Of course, good luck
I did
with
call
that.
Santa Rita Mayor Dale Alvarez. Like, hey, you seen anything going on down there? And
What's
he's
Mayor
like,
Dale doing?
They would call me, and I go,